Oh boy. Xbox, what are you doing? Apparently, Microsoft is in the early stages of exploring Game Pass expansion, potentially building in more third-party services that nobody's asking for into that subscription. So then they can say, by the way, we've improved Game Pass, and we're going to raise the price. Although they haven't. Nothing out there says that they're going to raise the price, but they're also thinking about, apparently this is a rumor that they're thinking about getting rid of the PC Game Pass tier. This, number one, doesn't surprise me at all. When you go and you try and find out more information about Game Pass, you gotta look to find the PC Game Pass tier. They hide it pretty well. And it makes it's cheaper. I think, what is it, $17.99 a month?
Yeah.
Yes, it's $17.99 a month. And if they just say, well, PC Game Pass is just becoming Game Pass Ultimate so that you can get all of these other things, just vanishing PC Game Pass. And as somebody who is a PC player, PC Game Pass is pretty appealing. I don't subscribe to it right now, but it's appealing. And if that tier goes away, then that sucks, because then you either subscribe to the most expensive one that comes with a bunch of stuff that I personally don't use, like the Fortnite stuff that I believe we talked about last episode, or you end up with the lower tier, and then you have to wait longer to get access to certain games. All of it just feels like, insert the Darth Vader meme right here. I'm altering the deal, pray I don't alter it further. Carrie, talk about your thoughts on Game Pass. My question to you is, if PC Game Pass, well, you subscribe to Ultimate though, don't you?
Yes. Yeah. I have almost 3 years, the max you can have.
Right. Okay. So this doesn't affect you.
Subscribe for effectively for free. You've racked up rewards points, right?
Yes. Yes. Correct. Yeah. So I've hoodwinked and bamboozled Microsoft. Yeah. So initially, right, it was the $1 deal, and you could just convert it over. So it was just okay, this is easy. And then you could get Xbox Live Gold. I already had a bunch of that for cheap, because it effectively worked out to $2 a month or something. I forget what it was. It was something really cheap. So I had a bunch of years of Xbox Live Gold, and I kept that because they were matching PSN by giving you 360 games. And how it worked on 360 is when you got the game, it wasn't renting it. It was when you stop having PSN, you don't have those anymore. The 360 games, when you got them, they were actually attached to your account. So even if you stopped subscribing, you owned them. So I was this is I'm paying for random games. This is a Humble Bundle, effectively, that I'm paying $2 a month for 2 games. So it's $1 a game. No problem. So I already had that, and I did a $1 deal, switched it over, and then I've just been kind of flooding with the Bing reward points nonstop. Since this change, though, that whole process has now gotten a lot worse for me. So this is going to be... I used to be able to float it per month, no problem. But now it's going to be a war of attrition for me in a very big way. So they will be losing... I will slowly lose this war. So that's unfortunate for me, because if PC Game Pass goes, which would also have been the more attractive price point to get day one games, and I could okay, I don't get the Fortnite crap, and I don't get the Ubisoft, not for nothing, but that Ubisoft Classics thing, while that does sound pretty awesome, and I would love to play Ubisoft Classics, I don't want to use the Uplay launcher so much that I don't even care about it. Right? The Uplay launcher sucks so bad that I don't even want to use it. Effectively, that means that at this point, I am literally praying that the next Xbox console actually is this hybrid thing, and I can play the Ubisoft games inside of the Xbox console side, so I don't have to use Uplay launcher. Same for EA games. Not for nothing, I don't like the EA launcher either. I just want to play it on a console just so I don't have to deal with the muck of the launchers and stuff. Yes, I have. That's a long-winded way of saying yes, I have it. I love Ultimate. I would have gone to PC Game Pass eventually, but this not being there, effectively, it's like you said, Bill. We're at a point where it's well, why would I buy? If it's going to be this is PSN, all right, I don't need that either. The day one games is the whole reason that I am doing this, because if I didn't have those day one games, I was not buying games day one. I was waiting until they became $20. I was waiting until they became $15. I was I don't need to be in the zeitgeist. But now that they're there and I have it, I get to experience it for what they have, and there's a big selection of day one games. So it's not great. The services that they're adding, to your point, I don't think are super worthwhile. They're trying to cast this really wide net, and I don't know if that's going to pay off for them. So it'll be interesting to where this goes, but it'll be unfortunate to see the PC Game Pass, if they're going to be like, oh, just get the premium tier. It's like, the premium tier sucks. Like, no point to Essentials or Premium. It's just Ultimate or go home.
Yeah. Russ, do you subscribe to Game Pass currently?
I do. So I like, it's weird. There's a reckoning coming very soon for me because I had Xbox Live for a long time, the gold. Then I converted it over. So I had like 3 years, right, of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And then ever since then, I've just been riding on those little coupons we get when we review an item. Like, oh, yeah. They send us an ROG Ally and it comes with 2 or 3 months, right? So I've been stacking those up just an overall cadence of doing these reviews, and I've always been ahead of the curve, but I've got like 2 months left before it expires, and I don't see any handhelds coming anytime soon that are going to bring that back. So there's a reckoning coming, basically, where I have to make this decision. I've already canceled my Sony subscription last year.
Same.
And so I'm kind of feeling that same thing. I feel a lot like Carrie, where it's like I do like that, the ability to test out a game before buying it. I was able to play Doom Dark Ages on day one. I was able to play Claire Obscure, Elder Scrolls Remastered. Like, all of those were games I would not have bought on day one, but I was able to play them right then and there. I like that luxury, but not at $30 a month. And I don't think the other tiers are really worth it either. So totally agree with all this stuff too. Yeah, it's going to be just kind of a weird thing. Like, I've been recently buying games, as they get cheap enough on Steam, then I just buy it even though I already had it on Game Pass. I'm just like building that library already because I knew it was coming at some point where I probably wasn't going to rely on Game Pass.
I've been doing that same thing with like the games that I have on Switch, because I used to have a Nintendo themed podcast and I would get just buckets of codes for Switch games, and some of them were really, really good, and I have them all on my wish list, and I keep watching for them to go on sale. So that when they do, I'm like, okay, Has Been Heroes is on sale. I got to buy that one right now because it's awesome and nobody knows about it. Anyway, Sorry, Rich, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts, but one of them is, just as Carrie was talking, I'm thinking like, this is Microsoft fighting the wrong fight again, right? Like, you're talking about all the like perks that they're giving, the Ubisoft, Bill, you mentioned the Fortnite, and then Carrie, you hit on the point where it's like, but I don't want to launch the Uplay launcher, right? And so this is the classic fight that everyone else is fighting, and Valve is like in this own area where it's like, no, we want to give you the most convenient experience possible, and we know that, yeah, you are price sensitive, but you are willing to pay a little bit of a higher price for a convenient experience. And that's what Valve is like. That's the same thing with like piracy that Gabe famously has his like thoughts on piracy, which is that it's a service problem, right? And so like, yeah, you are willing to pay for the game. It's not that these people aren't willing to pay for games. You're willing to pay for the game, but you need it to be at least as convenient as it would be to just pirate a game.
Yeah, and the other thing that it makes me think of, the way that Carrie and Russ were describing this, it reminds me of cable. Like, back in the day when we had cable, and I haven't had cable in like almost 20 years at this point, but when we did have cable, and you were like, okay, I want, just for an example, Turner Classic Movies. Okay, well, you want ESPN, you have to get ESPN with that too. I don't want ESPN. I just want Turner Classic Movies. Well, we won't sell just that. We only sell them together. And I'm like, what is most likely the real outcome is people wanted ESPN and they got stuck with Turner Classic Movies. But I'm not a sports guy, so that's what came to mind. So that's what it makes me feel like. It feels like they're trying to turn Game Pass into cable for video games.
So the one thing, so even for Steam, I don't buy, I have bought Ubisoft games, but only if they're old enough. If I see the little red banner that I have on mine that says like it uses another launcher, I haven't purchased EA games even though the price has been very right. It's like, this game requires EA launcher, and I'm like, no, I'll just buy a cheap version of this for Xbox or PlayStation or whatever. I would rather play on another platform, or if it comes to Switch, and then, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is, I dislike those EA and Ubisoft launchers so much that I would rather just play the console version, that it's not going to bother me to like do this other thing. Like that's how much those launchers legitimate. Like, if I have to buy on Steam and launch to another launcher, I just can't be bothered. So That's one thing where also Ubisoft games get very cheap on console, especially on Xbox. But that's a whole other thing. So for me, the reality is, if hopefully, is that we can get to that ultimate end goal, then it might make sense. But up until then, yeah, like, why the hell do I care about ESPN? Why the hell do I care about... I say this when I never played Fortnite before, and now I am playing Fortnite since they did do that, and then they kind of roped me in with Simpsons, which I am a huge fan of. I will say, though, that I am weaning myself. I'm, like, going away from Fortnite because I'm just kind of, like, going through the motions. And I was like, all right, I'm kind of done with this. Once I built up, like, enough stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm happy with that. I don't need to play this anymore. Which is pretty funny, right? Like, going through all this work, to just like, oh, I love how I look. Time to never play this again.
Before Rich jumps in here, there's one thing that I'm going to ask somebody to do. Carrie loves The Simpsons. He's made... I'm going to say not countless, but a lot of Simpsons references on this show. If you find them all, let us know. I would love to have all of them clipped together so we could just do like a Simpsons Carrie thing for the whole thing. Anyway, Rich, what were you saying?
Yeah, and this is kind of my last thought here, but it's I think pretty interesting is I'm against them merging it the way they are inevitably going to merge it, which means a price increase for everybody, right? But it's also true that a merge was going to be necessary at some point, right? If everything we understand about the next Xbox to be true is true, then it never made sense to continue having a PC 100%. Game tier and an Xbox game tier. So a merge makes sense. I think they're going to handle it the wrong way, but just simply the idea of having a merge is something that seems sensible given their future.
Honestly, because the merge is inevitable, it really like cooks my noodle. My brain can't handle the fact that they said, oh, PC Game Pass is like, when they raised the prices, they left the PC Game Pass price alone. And you're like, was that because they were just trying to say like breadcrumb us, or boil the frog slowly, or whatever analogy you want to leave? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd love to, like, if this comes true, which it likely will, I'd love to do what are the because there have been 8 price hikes, small ones overall in the last few years. So we should do a chronology of this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then they dropped PC Game Pass, and so that happened.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be
Sounds
interesting.
Like a really good video to go on Fan the Deck.
Might do it.
What they should do, a thing that, because Game Pass Ultimate is the only way to get day one games as it is right now. If they're getting rid of PC Game Pass, which has day one games, and they're getting rid of that, then if Premium was their answer to that, the $20 tier, then the Premium tier should get some level of day one. And maybe that's just Microsoft published games that they get day one, but not third party, which they are only for Ultimate. There's got to be something that it's not you don't get 500 games plus whatever. You only get, 300 instead of the 200 or whatever the hell the number is, right? They should have something. Because right now, Essentials and Premium really makes little sense at all to get, from my point of view.
Yeah, but it seems weird to me for them to say, okay, when was it, October, that they raised the prices of Game Pass? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, October.
Last year?
Yep.
October? Okay, so nailed it again. Rich Russ. All right, so...
3 in a row.
That's right, baby. Give me a hat trick. So in October, they raised the prices, and they rearranged all of the benefits that you get, and then they're like, okay, we're rearranging them again because we got rid of PC Game Pass. That just seems like whiplash for consumers. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, it does feel a little bit. It does not feel a little bit. It feels really strange, and maybe it's a lot of licensing stuff, which is probably why they kind of tucked PC Game Pass over in the corner. Just don't look at that. We'll sort that out when our Xbox is also a PC, because it wouldn't take a genius, right?
Right.
I can get this for $30 or this for $18. They're pretty much the same. I just don't get Fortnite and Ubisoft. Okay, yeah. This doesn't take a genius.
Gonna have to think about that.
That's a Simpsons reference.
One of many. One of many. All right. Well, that's it for the Xbox chatter with Game Pass and all of that stuff. Let us know what you guys look. If you are somebody who already subscribes to PC Game Pass and they ditch PC Game Pass and say the only way that you can get those day one games, whether you're on PC or on console, is with Game Pass Ultimate, which is $30. Will that change how you use it? Will you cancel your subscription? Let us know in the comments down below.